recently on YouTube, one of the respondents to one of my videos said to me that I don't have my own policy views, and everything that I say is from MSNBC or Democratic talking points. So what I'm going to do right now is I want to tell you a little bit about myself and my bona fides first, which gives me the right to speak about these things. And then I am going to share a couple of my policy views with you, if you don't mind. The first order of business is that I have been studying the Constitution since 1978. When I was 16 years old, I used to go to the library every day with my cousin who was studying to be a doctor. I always had a love of the law and a curiosity about it, and I wanted to know. So I started to study it then. I also studied the Federalist Papers on my own. Additionally, I've worked for 30 years in law enforcement in various capacities. I've been everything from armed security to unarmed security to an undercover investigator to a loss prevention officer to an undercover private detective to a regular private detective to a process server to a bail enforcement officer to being a special officer and a peace officer, which gave me a lot of exposure to the law, and I loved it. I loved every minute of it. I have also been trained in the law. I worked as a paralegal for a collections attorney. I learned Fair Debt Credit Practices Act. I'm familiar with fair debt credit practices. I'm familiar with collections. I'm familiar with landlord-tenant. I'm familiar with probate law. I'm familiar with family law. I'm familiar with small claims and civil law and torts, just for starters. Currently, I am in my senior year, my fourth year of my bachelor's in science program for legal studies. And I'll be graduating with somewhere around a 3.5 GPA. I'm already a member of Phi Alpha Delta, which is the largest law fraternity in the world. And I am a member of Sigma Alpha Pi, which is an honor society for national leadership and success. I'm also a recipient in 2013 of the President's Call to Service Award, the Lifetime Award for having given over 4,000 volunteer hours. I am what George H.W. Bush called one of the 1,000 points of light. Okay? So those are my bona fides. Let's talk policy. When we have a $38 trillion debt right now, a deficit of $38 trillion, this is not the time to be giving a $4.5 trillion tax break to the wealthiest people on the planet. No way. Okay? What we should be doing, as opposed to doing that, we should be raising taxes like FDR did in the Reconstruction after World War II for 5 years to 55% on the wealthiest individuals and corporations. If we do that, Social Security is insolvent at that point. Department of Education is insolvent at that point. We can fully fund SNAP. We can benefit more people that way and work that debt down. Another idea is to take 20% of Department of Defense's budget, cut 20% off of that. We'd still be way above post 9/11 funding rates. We'd still be the safest country in the world in that respect. But that money right there will also go towards funding these programs and necessities that could do the greater good for everybody. See, let me explain to you really quick how budgets work. Say the government works on $2 trillion a year. It takes $2 trillion a year to run the federal government. And the president says, I'm going to take $1 trillion and give it to the wealthiest people on the planet just because they're alive. Here you go. Thanks for breathing, right? Okay. You're $1 trillion short to keep the government running. So who's got to make up that pitfall? You guessed it, us, the taxpayers. We have to make up that $1 trillion. How is that done? Higher taxes, and cutting programs that a lot of people need.